Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, I'm so excited to have Doug Rice back in the studio. He is an experiential leadership speaker. He's going to explain next.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, it's not often that I invite people back to the show, but Doug Rice is just an amazing speaker. In fact, he's a experiential leadership speaker, and I'm going to have him explain that. And he also has a lot of energy. I'm kind of a mellow guy, so I might have to up my energy for this show. Doug, welcome back to the show.
Thank you for having me, Jeff. I appreciate it.
All right, let's start with the basics. Okay, what is an experiential leadership speaker?
Well, you can see that word experience is in there. And the meeting industry, the corporate meeting industry, where you bring in all these keynote speakers and have the breakout sessions and so on, they've really been trending toward wanting more experiences and engagement for their attendees, because overall attendance has started to go down a little bit. Some of the, especially the younger people, don't even want to go to some of these conferences because they don't understand why. So they want more experiences. And
Yes.
so what I do now is I actually give my talks when they're booked this way as a walking meeting almost. Somebody must describe it as a TED Talk while you walk.
All right, you brought a prop. Go ahead and show this.
So basically, everybody wears one of these. If you've ever been to a silent disco, and most people have been to a silent disco,
Sure.
there's other reasons or other uses for the silent disco technology. So you basically just turn it on and you'll see it light up. And so at a silent disco, like this is blue. You
Yes.
could be on the blue channel, the red channel, the green channel, and it just changes over here. So there can be 3 different things. So in a silent disco, you could have hip hop, pop, and country, let's say.
Yes.
Everybody's listening to a different channel, but they're all
Yes.
dancing together, but you can't hear anything audibly, if you're just outside of and don't have on a headset. So what I've done is I've taken that and brought it into the speaking business. So you wear the silent disco headsets. There's only one channel that you're using, and it's a pre-recorded message from me. And I also chime in live during the walk because there's a microphone feature that I wear on my transmitter. Nice. And I stop and I talk and we talk about it. So the whole experience lasts about an hour.
Wow.
With the walking. So it's really an amazing way to deliver a message. People don't even realize, for instance, Steve Jobs was famous for doing walking meetings when he was at Apple, because there's a lot of reasons for that. One of the main reasons is that when you walk, your body's moving. So the blood and the oxygen comes up into your brain, and it helps your brain think more clearly, more creatively. So not only do you hear the message, but you tend to retain the messages better as it is, because you are immersed in this. There is no other distractions.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And they retain the information, and they're not on their cell phone.
Correct. I actually make an announcement. I say, I'm not the phone police, but as a common courtesy, please do not take out your cell phone, and 99.9% of the people will respect that. So as we walk, yes, when you're walking, you're really not thinking about pulling out your cell phone.
Yes.
You're immersed in the message, and you're hearing all these messages. It actually is raising your dopamine levels. You get into a state as a person as you're walking, and that motion, that bilateral stimulation is what it's called, of your legs going 1, 2, 1, 2, left, right. Your brain has known that your whole life. It's very comfortable with that.
Yes.
So it relaxes the brain.
Wow.
And therefore that clutter is removed and you actually hear the message.
Brilliant. Okay, we found his sizzle reel from a couple of years ago. Let's go ahead and roll that.
Let's flex it. Yeah! 2, 3.
What if the secret to boosting your team's productivity isn't just another strategy or process? What if it's energy, the kind that drives change, motivates action, and inspires positivity day in and day out? That's where I come in. With a contagious spark, I help your team unlock their potential, fueling momentum that lasts.
Energy is not something that just happens to you. Energy is created.
From my days as a University of Texas cheerleader to years of running high-energy fitness boot camps, positivity and motivation, it's what I'm known for. My motivational and high-energy style in the fitness industry has been featured on Good Morning America, CBS Mobile, ABC's Primetime, and many more.
So I was actually hands-on in the field, talking to people, seeing people, helping people, motivating people. And I saw the things that made the people that were successful, I saw what made them successful. And I also understood and realized and came to the conclusions of the things that made people not so successful.
Hi, my name is Peppy Butcher. I am a meeting and event planner. You have got to book Doug Rice for your event. He gets the energy going. He brings pop to your events. Book him now.
Well, those are all good things to say, but once you say them, then you must put those into action. So don't be words, be action. Strength, focus, and resilience. And those are the three that I want to talk to you about today. The three key pillars to not only having a healthy attitude, the three key pillars to being an effective leader.
Have you ever watched a bodybuilding show?
No.
Have you ever seen an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie before?
Yes.
Which one?
With Kindergarten Cop?
Oh, there we go.
My keynotes aren't just talks. They're interactive experiences that get the audience involved. I use volunteers to create energy, laughter, and fun moments that make the takeaway messages really stick.
Not only was the energy amazing, but he actually did a little bit of mindset training, which some people didn't realize was happening because they were having so much fun at the same time.
All right, we're going to welcome in a guest.
I want to welcome in Doug.
Yes, go for it.
By the way, for those that don't know Doug, this is not just on camera. This guy was born with Red Bull in his veins somehow. The only person I've ever met that was born with Red Bull in them.
What the message of that game is all about. Remember, number one, you got to know what your goal is. And number two, you've got to get started.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Hi, I'm Bob Phillips, and I want to tell you, Doug Rice has more energy. He is the best motivator. And if you want to increase productivity of your company or your team, you want to get this guy at your event.
Gosh, Doug Rice just got off the stage. The room is energized. The ladies love him. We're definitely going to have him next year.
Put the A plus the C, the attitude plus the consistency, then it's going to equal the T, which is the transformation, the results. The goal that you set, you achieve the goal. Attitude plus consistency equals transformation.
And he totally rocked it. He brought our entire group just to life with energy and excitement, and it was a blast. I would totally recommend Doug Rice for your event.
The same daily habits, the same characteristics that made somebody successful in a fitness program were the exact same traits, characteristics, and daily habits that make you successful in any endeavor that you have. Who cares if the horse is blind? Just load the wagon. No idea what that means. I'm just kidding. What that means is just go. Just do it. You have to have that mindset and that positive can-do attitude that says, I can do this. And don't let anybody else tell you otherwise. He consistently gave the effort. In his mind, he had the attitude that he could do this. It seemed impossible. It's that little secondary inner voice conversation that's going on in your head. It's what really and truly motivates you.
If you want to energize your meeting, if you want to get people up off their feet and into your messages, get Doug Rice to come energize your people.
I believe in building positivity and giving every team member a reason to be inspired. Because when people feel energized, productivity skyrockets and great things happen. I'm Doug Rice. High energy, positivity, and results driven. Let's energize your team, boost productivity, and create a culture that thrives.
All right, you've been performing since you were in college, certainly, maybe earlier. So what is it? I mean, performing at a huge stadium versus performing in front of maybe even an intimate audience of 30 people.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those things that experience really just teaches you how to work with different size crowds, and it really is. It's kind of it's a professional skill that you acquire over time. And I'm not saying I'm the greatest at it, but I certainly understand it now better than I did when I first started out. And it's always something that it brings me energy, it brings me joy, and I love to bring that high energy and that joy and that whole can-do attitude to audiences whenever I speak.
Talk a little bit about the process of engaging you, because like most great speakers, you really study the room, you study the audience, even you use their language. Some people call them employees, some people call them team members. So maybe talk about the due diligence that you put in.
Yeah, and it really, you generally can get a feel for it just from when you first get there and you watch, and you're kind of behind the stage and you're watching people file in, or if you're at a conference and you're there early and there's speakers in front of you, you can kind of see what the audience is responding to and what the energy of the room is. And so yeah, you're right, you adjust yourself accordingly, and hopefully you might even come up with some little threads of humor that you can use from something that came up earlier in the day that they all can relate to. So, because comedy or that type of humor, it disengages or essentially it disarms the crowd, I should say, and they immediately like you and they're drawn to you.
All right, how do you decide who to bring up on stage with you?
Well, that's a volunteer basis, and I actually learned that. I'll shout out to Joel Zeff, who recommended me to come back on your show. Joel has been doing this a long time, and he uses volunteers, and that's where I got the idea of just let them volunteer. I'm not going to force anybody to come up that doesn't feel comfortable in front of a crowd. But when you ask for volunteers, there's always people that are going to be the hams and the class clown types or whatever, the high energy people that want to have fun, and they'll raise their hand and they'll come on up and you have fun with them.
And I love that because when you have a coworker who might be an engineer, they might be a kind of a shy person, but then you see them doing YMCA, and it's like it changes your relationship with them.
The whole room goes crazy when the phones are out, everything, and people just love it. People want to have fun. People want to have the energy brought to them. Yes. And I'm not saying that every speaker, if you had an entire itinerary of the day, would be people like me who are high energy. It probably would get a little bit draining, but it's a wonderful way to get the audience either re-energized or energized to kick off the meeting, to end the day with a lot of energy.
Yeah.
And that's how I actually came up with the other concept that we were talking about before, which is the walking. All of my stuff, Jeff, you see there's a thread, and there is always movement involved, because I'm one of those guys that if I go to a meeting and I'm sitting there, and even if the speaker is wonderful, sometimes I do kind of start to wander off, and you get a little bit, whatever it is, when you're sitting, there's just not as much, you don't have as much engagement. It's just natural for the mind to start to wander. Yes. And that's how I came up with the idea of let's actually have you moving, and movement actually creates a better mindset for you to take the information in. And that's why I took these immersive headsets and brought those to a corporate situation. Now I'm allowed to tell you about some of the other stuff I'm working on.
Please.
So I thought, wow, this is amazing. I love this technology. I love the way that people can hear everything you're saying. That's the thing, is when you're outdoors especially, and you want people to actually hear what you're talking about if you're trying to get a message across.
Yes.
And so the corporate situation is made for a large corporate campus, a public park, or like a luxury resort where a lot of leadership retreats and so on are to take place. So I said, what's another way to use this technology? So I recently came up on, as they say in the theater world, I've now gone through previews, and the previews have been awesome. I'm doing something called the Big D, Dallas, you got a son named Dallas, Big D Soundtrack Walk.
Wow.
And it is it's an immersive headset situation. It's made for the public. So when all the tourists, for instance, come this summer for the World Cup, which is very soon, they're probably already starting to arrive, you hear the history of Dallas.
Wow.
But you hear the history of Dallas fused in with the music that came from the city of Dallas, going all the way back to the blues era in Deep Ellum with Blind Lemon Jefferson. Yeah. We come all the way to present day of Post Malone and Kelly Clarkson. So you hear this wonderful timeline of music and the history of our city.
Yes. All right, I would suggest that this has been one of the toughest decades to be a leader. I mean, they saw COVID, there's layoffs at many Silicon Valley companies. Mm-hmm. So what kind of challenges do you help solve?
Well, again, I think what we talked about earlier, and that is the challenge that I solve is because we're in a challenging environment. You want to make sure that if you do get somebody to be able to attend your meeting, that it's going to be something memorable, something they're going to want to return to. That's why the meeting industry has been trending toward wanting more experiences and more engagement for their audiences. And what my experiential leadership walks are both of those things, and they do it in spades. And one is you have an experience. You're with your coworkers, your teammates, the people that are attending the conference with you, your cohorts. You're walking together in a group, but at the same time you're immersed with the audio that you're hearing, and it's very motivational, very uplifting type of messages that I also, like I say, intermittently I stop and I go live and I talk to them through the microphone. And you're also getting that engagement. So you're getting the experiences and the engagement of the people that are with you. And that makes the experience so much more enjoyable, so much more memorable. And you actually get some of your steps in along the way. So, hey, that's a big bonus, right?
Well, and I don't know of any speaker in America who's doing this. So
I don't think there's one. I think I'm him.
Doug, we got about 2 minutes left. So talk to the camera on the left about why that leader of an organization might need to bring.
Well, I'm going to tell you why, because I've got a small little gift for you. This thing's got to be worth at least 25 cents. Okay. And it says, if you don't commit, you've already quit. I'm going to give that to you, Jeff. You can put that. Look, it even matches your outfit today.
It does.
I got lucky there.
That's
okay.
awesome.
So that's kind of my overall message.
Yes.
Okay. Because one of my most popular messages that I do on the leadership walks has 3 components to it. The last component kind of sums it all up, and that is, if you don't commit, you've already quit. So we can talk about all these wonderful goals, objectives, and things that we're going to do. It's kind of like New Year's resolutions when you come up with those, and you have all these great, ambitious goals. But if you don't actually commit to them, then you really have already quit. So that's why I came up with this idea. If you don't commit, you've already quit. And so that's kind of the overall message I like to say. I want to bring the energy. I want you to not just come and sit and hear my speech. I don't want you to just come and go on one of my walks, but I want you to actually be able to implement the advice or the great information, I think it's great, that I'm giving you, and to uplift you, to make you feel like you can do this, to have positive energy brought into your life, and to have your whole team feel that energy as well.
Beautiful. Okay, we're going to end with your website. Go ahead and give us the domain.
So the new website is walkthinkgrow.com. Just those 3 words. There's no spaces. walkthinkgrow.com. You can find out all the information there. You can contact me through there. And well, I'd love to hear from you and just talk about what your goals are for your organization, your company, your nonprofit, whatever it is. And we can see if we can work together.
Outstanding. Yeah. Thanks again for sharing your wisdom with us. That's it for now. We'll see you next time.